This is an introduction to the downfall of Steven Crowder. When we look at the downfall of Steven Crowder, we can really only attribute that to one man. We are going to look at the historical YouTube beef that really destroyed Steven Crowder and ended this guy. But before we do that, we got to understand who this guy is and what he's famous for. We're talking about a Canadian who swindled his way into the conservative sphere of politics, American politics. Just based off of his origins, we already know this guy is a swindler, and he's a little bit of a manipulator to manipulate all these masses, all these Trump people, these magtards that a Canadian like him really can really understand. The xenophobic conservatives, these very ignorant, closed-minded conservatives who would never accept a Canadian garnering millions of views per live stream off of really no talent, no comedic talent, no acting talent, very subpar skits. Some of his skits were decent, I would say, but we're talking about millions of subscribers and millions of viewers off of being an unfunny hack. And I think after that famous debate that really destroyed this guy, which we're going to look at and we're going to laugh at, and I think people started to really see through Steven Crowder after his destruction. They started to see, this guy, maybe we really shouldn't be taking someone seriously when their claim to fame is debating kids. I mean, that's one of them. And debating random fools off the street. And we're going to see an example of that here.
It's not okay for me to speak.
Not if you're going to lie to my face and pretend, if you pretend to not remember what that chant is.
Tell me what the exact words are.
Audience seems to want to
Tell me
remember
what the exact chants are. Tell me what the exact chants are.
Go back home. Go back home.
That's the exact
chant?
chant?
Go back home.
That's the
Go
exact
back
chant.
home.
So you're not a racist.
But hopefully you remember
Listen,
there's
dummy,
no one
it's a
here,
thought exercise.
No one here to protect our country.
It's a thought
There's no one here
exercise.
to
If you
protect
attribute
life from
motive,
going extinct,
productive
except the me within us all.
Listen,
no
stop
power
for a
that.
second.
This guy's inviting fools onto the stage, and he's trying to debate them because these people are really to be taken seriously. And a lot of his followers really used to eat a lot of this up, and they used to think, man, Steven Crowder is really a genius. But after that one debate that really destroyed him, I think people started to see that, and maybe I shouldn't be worshiping him like how a lot of the magtards worship Donald Trump. And we're talking about a guy who preaches so vehemently against homosexuality. We're talking about Steven Crowder doing that. And what you guys got to understand is Steven Crowder is gay. Now, I don't mean homosexual gay. I mean straight guy cross-dressing, putting on dresses and lipstick to be funny in the name of comedy or in the name of making a political statement. And I don't mean gay as in homosexual, but I mean gay as in showing his dick to his male employees and rubbing it on them when they're not looking.
In a van after a college show in March 2018 when former producer Jared Monroe, whom Crowder dubbed Not Gay Jared, was targeted. Quote, Jared was asleep in the last row. Steven was in front and he was joking about what he was going to do, the staffer recalled. He climbed over and dropped his junk on top of Jared's shoulder. You know who puts their dick on their male friend's body? People who want to put their dick on their male friend's body.
I agree, Kyle Kalinske.
Quote, Crowder was known to expose his genitals to staffers.
Well, hold on a second. Yes.
Yeah, well,
yes.
Just wait. I mean,
That did happen. I mean, what are you talking about? The Terminator 2 sketch?
no, but at the time you only had 5 employees and they were all male.
Well, yeah, I know, but it was a Terminator 2 sketch?
I love how he thinks that's a rebuttal. Bro, they were men. Okay.
Now that is crazy. So now we understand that when we're talking about Steven Crowder's career, we're sort of just talking about a goofball. And, we're talking about the guy who swindled his way out of mediocre comedy, being a failed actor in failed movies. And to a large degree, his viewers tanked. And even after the debate that really destroyed Steven Crowder, he stopped doing a lot of change my minds. He stopped doing a lot of the bits that he was famous for. And now other people are doing those bits. So you have Destiny doing those bits. We have Charlie Kirk doing those bits. And a couple other commentators in the political space. So why is Steven Crowder so scared to interact with different debaters and different educated people in this space. That's when we get into our superhero, Sam Seder, the man who destroyed Steven Crowder single-handedly, well, with the help of Ethan Klein. Steven Crowder had agreed to debate H3 Ethan Klein, and he had suspected that Ethan Klein was going to sabotage the whole debate by bringing on Sam Seder. And at this time, Steven Crowder was terrified of Sam Seder because Sam Seder had challenged him to debates a number of times. And, you know, looking at Sam Seder's record and his history of destroying conservatives and libertarians, Steven Crowder did not want that smoke. He's been ducking that motherfucker like Mayweather dodging punches in his prime.
I'll just say, you guys do the sound check. I don't want to sit there and talk with their producer, Dan, and stuff, but I don't think this guy wants to do this. I wouldn't be surprised if he's probably going to bring someone else on. Was his producer like a fan of that Seder character? Yeah, that'd be my bet, but hey, hopefully he mans up.
You see how scared he was? He's readjusting his holster. He's moving his cup around. Very nervous body language. You know, crossing his hands, moving around in his seat.
Dude, I've always had such a pain with Skype that Zoom has always been really good. So,
well,
okay, so he's having a casual conversation with Ethan Klein before the debate started, before Sam Seder was introduced, and the guy just looks very terrified. Very nervous body language, low shoulders, moving around his gun holster, and just, you know, sort of jittery in his speech. And you could tell that, you know, he knows it's about to go down. He knows, okay, I'm going to get sabotaged right now, and it's going to be really embarrassing. So, and you could just see it in his speech, the way he talks.
All right. So what we were going to talk about is, you know, the initial quote that happened. I think he's looking off there. The initial quote that kind of was turned into a little bit of a meme, which wasn't intentional, and was you saying you don't even have to think about it regarding the CDC. And I disagree with that. I think people should think about it. I believe. And we talked about this through playful ribbing and an aggregation of medical authorities and scientific voices to make an informed and rational decision. So where do you think that I'm wrong on that?
Steven, do you know that the Spartans are like practice man love with children?
Oh, geez. Okay, so this is what's going to happen. What did I tell you? He was going to do anything he could to avoid. Oh, there he is. Oh no, Sam Seder. What a nightmare.
Thank you, Steven.
I had no idea this was going to happen. I thought Ethan was a stand-up guy. This is where we are. Yeah, well, I told Dave, remember I told you? I said I guarantee you he's going to do anything he can to avoid the debate.
Oh, I just think he believes that he should debate you.
No, he doesn't. He just takes advantage of women with, you know, mental health issues. Steven, Ethan Klein doesn't stand up and do his own fighting.
I got to say,
it's just hilarious. Let's bring on FM.
That you would do anything to avoid talking to me. I think the point.
Does that include Joe Rogan?
Yeah, Joe Rogan and Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson and Noam Chomsky and Sam Harris. Everyone's been avoiding.
And not just attempting to get your audience by jumping in.
Well, I debated with Charlie Kirk. Steven, I mean, it's about issues.
Now, I've never seen this amount of nervousness coming from Steven Crowder. Usually he likes to portray himself as this chill, easygoing guy who will debate you and not act like a fool with all the extra theatrics and stuff. But you can hear the fake laughing to hide the fact that he's really scared of what Sam Seder has to say. He's afraid to engage in debate. So, you know, he's overly laughing at Sam Seder. And he seems to know a lot about Sam Seder's career, when later he'll say that no one knows who Sam Seder is, and he had no knowledge of the debate that was offered to him by Sam Seder's team, even though you know a lot about him, and it seems like you've had a lot of time to look into this guy's career. And you can also see the nervous body language, which touching his mouth and his chin.
About issues,
about those issues.
That's what you're doing here.
Some valid points.
You're so clever. I had no idea that you were taking your show off early last time, coming in today with your pig pen peanuts eyes.
I wish every.
You take those off, are they velveteen
really are,
buttons?
They're just
Well, you must have
black
been
eyes,
very
aren't
worried
they?
about
Like
this, Stephen. I don't know
no
why.
one's worried
No,
about
come on,
it. It's
Sam.
why I didn't want to
Concerned.
do it.
Well, let's have
Sam,
the
come
debate.
on.
If
Just
no
I'll tell you
one's
what. I have a
worried, let's
general.
do this.
I have a general rule.
This is a great
I don't start a debate based
to-
with people on a lie. And how about you get
sabotaging?
how about you get to a
Steven,
30th
show
of the
yourself,
audience
you
share?
coward. Steven, show
A
yourself.
30th of the
Don't show your
audience.
co-host.
Ethan, you should show
Steven,
yourself.
Ethan, how can you respect yourself as a
you
man,
believe
brother?
in something so
Steven,
strongly that
Steven,
you're
you
not
are such
willing
a
to
coward.
debate.
Stop showing your little leprechaun co-host.
Right. Hey, Ethan, come on, Ethan. Why do you have to bring on a guy who has a 30th of the viewership of yourself?
Saddest thing I've ever heard. So you have a guy
Just
with
show
less
Steven.
viewers to come on to debate him because you can't?
Well,
Why don't you
obviously,
get
if I'm
Apparently, he had to think about it, bro.
If I'm a
Yeah, I had to
layup and
think
not a
about it.
debater,
Well, look, you're the one who called. You're the one who got personal and
You're
started
the one
it.
that got angry about it.
Look,
It's a debate.
hold on a second. All right, hold on. Let me hear what Pigpen has to say here really quickly.
Fair enough.
But
Show
Ethan,
Steven.
look, I don't. Hold on a second, Ethan. This is because initially I came out here to
Thank you.
talk with Ethan. Ethan, come on, man. Look, the same reason that I haven't ever had a conversation with Sam Seder is the same reason that Joe Rogan, Sam Harris, Brett Weinstein, Dave Rubin, Ben Shapiro don't owe him anything. It's based on a lie, Ethan. Just like you
What's the
claiming
lie?
you
What's the
claiming
lie?
my booker
What's the
reached
lie,
out to you,
Steven?
Ethan, when you know that's
Steven,
not
what's
true.
the lie?
There's no one ducking
What's the
you,
lie?
Sam.
Why
I've
are you
never.
so afraid?
Sam.
I think you're a
I can
smart
call out
guy.
Mike
I
Tyson.
don't understand
It doesn't mean that I'm ducking him.
You are so worried about
Why do you
this.
feel that?
I
Why do you
honestly
feel that
don't.
anyone, Sam? Why do you feel that anyone owes you airtime when you have a 40th of the audience and you've been doing the show
I don't
for
think
10 times
anybody
as
owes
long?
me airtime. I think that Ethan has just given it to me.
Right.
I didn't ask him for it.
Right. No,
And
you've been
so
begging for it for
the
a
real
long time with
question is
everyone
begging
bigger
for
than
it.
yourself.
Why are
Yeah,
you
he found
so
a
He
way
can't
in.
build an
engaging
audience,
with me?
and so what happens is he
Why are
uploads
you so
15 times
worried about-
more,
Do you
has
think
less
your
than a
audience
50th of the
says-
audience.
Well, that's why he wants
Do
to
you think
debate
that
you,
your
is so he can
audience-
build his
Sam,
audience.
Sam, come on.
You
Where's
think your audience
Yeah.
cares that I only have 1 million subscribers and you have what, 6 or 7
I
million
think. Let me answer.
subscribers?
Can I answer your
I don't
question?
think
Can I
they
answer your
do.
question? Can I answer your question? Do you want me to answer
Sure.
your question? My audience would say Sam who? Just like Joe Rogan's audience and Ben Shapiro's
Now
and
they
Dave
all
Rubin.
know who I
Now
am.
they all know who you
just
are because you
introduced me.
had to
Because
shoehorn
your
yourself
audience
into another
brought
coward
yourself
show.
into-
Now, you know you really are failing when you need to bring up other men to justify your cowardice. You know, he's bringing up Ben Shapiro and everyone else that Sam Seder has destroyed, if not in debate, on his commentating show. And, it's really funny that he brings up status and, you have to have followers and viewers to engage with me. I've never heard Steven Crowder talk like that before. Only when it comes to someone intellectually superior to him that he says something like this with a little bit of experience in the game. I mean, he doesn't really say that about the college students that he debates, the weirdos on the street, the crazy people, the debates in the political sphere that you're in. That should have to do with your knowledge of the issues. Why do you want to debate a guy like Ethan Klein who he doesn't run a political show? He doesn't know anything about this. That's where you'd want to talk to Sam Seder because he knows about the issues. He can debate with you. But no, cowardice.
College students every
Would you
day
rather
that you
revert-
do
Why
that,
are we-
change
Hold on a
my
second.
mind.
Hold on a second.
They don't know who
This
those
is another
college
lie.
students
This is
are.
another lie.
It
The
is.
cha- let me
What difference would it
clarify,
be?
Sam. Let me clarify, Sam. The change my mind. Everyone knows on the show, right?
Yes.
We've had
How
professors
did
on
you
the.
know I
this is
ended
what's,
my
he's not
show
going to talk.
early last week, Stephen? If you're
Because you're an idiot, and half of your staff doesn't like you.
watch my
Because I'm a
show?
diehard fan.
Yes, it's because
I
he's
watch
a
it all the
diehard
time.
fan.
Well,
There,
if
I've had
you're a
heard of you,
diehard fan,
but I just met
why-
you.
why
Congratulations,
not have
Sam
me
Seder's fan.
And
I'm just
Stephen
a
have a
huge fan.
conversation.
I like.
Well,
I
right
will
now,
talk
every time I
about
try
the
and talk,
issues
you're
that you wanna
interrupting,
talk
Sam.
about,
Yeah, and
Stephen.
Right now, I'm trying to talk with you. You're interrupting,
you
Sam.
bombarded the show to
You
debate.
go ahead.
bombarded my show under a false pretense. You claim that everyone, just like you claim that I ducked a debate with you under a false pretense. Have I ever?
That is what the Politicon people told
Oh,
me.
is that
I
what they
played
told
the
you?
audio
So you're just
of it.
lazy with your research?
And if big tech
No,
is
You
What
continue with the
research do
lie.
I need?
You need to
They
research
said
and
you
say,
were
did
booked.
Stephen ever accept?
They said you were
Let me
booked.
explain to you. Let me explain to you.
They
Let me
said
explain to
you
you.
were
Hey,
booked,
whoa,
and
whoa,
then
whoa,
you
Sam.
dropped out and you literally
Sam,
had
sweetheart.
cold feet.
Sam, fake stand-up comic who we can't find any footage about online. Let me finish.
I'm not a stand-up comic.
Oh, you're not? Okay, that makes sense because everything that I've seen is incredibly unfunny and unentertaining, which may
Well,
explain the
I'm not
audience
a
numbers.
stand-up comic.
Irony alert, Steven.
Comedian.
How much have you watched of my
The
stuff,
irony
Stephen,
of
that you
Sam,
think that
can
you're
Here he's really proving that he knows so much about Sam Seder because he's afraid of him.
Question?
Wouldn't appreciate our discussing things.
Samuel, can I answer your question?
Yes.
So you have gone on, you've done the same thing with other comments. Everyone has a bigger audience than you. Because you said, I want to speak with Steven Crowder. You believe that at some point there was some acceptance? When have I ever done a Politicon? Ever? When have I as a matter of fact, in the last decade, I haven't done a single political conference. I hosted CPAC for 4 years and stopped because they suck. They don't pay and they're full of losers. And you've been clamoring for it, and it's a lie.
Gavin told me that you dropped out of doing his show because
this is just hearsay and gossip.
How can he say
I've never met more of a woman.
Career when he wants to keep debating?
I don't know.
Let's talk about any of it.
All right. Okay.
Let's talk about the
So
issue,
Ethan, do you want to have a conversation, Ethan?
About the vaccine?
Ethan, do you want to have a conversation? You're going to hide.
You felt so strongly about it. So why are you hiding behind Sam Seder?
Oh, no.
Have a conversation
Sam are aligned. I'm not hiding.
Well, you're just a liar.
So you're a liar.
Because remember we said, hold on a second.
Debate.
Yeah.
It sort of feels like you guys are the ones who are hiding.
Really? Hiding? No. This is actually...
Who snuck in on you?
Who's the guy who never appears on stage, never does a live show,
but is a
never
comic.
never even allows a shadow of comedy to be perceived on his program? It's just hiding.
Right.
Everything we do is out in the open. H3, you know
Steven, you're wearing
that we
a holster.
agreed.
So what?
Hold on a second, yeah? So? I want to normalize responsible gun ownership. Is that your debate? No wonder you had to bring in a hack for you.
You want to call it a...
Crying out loud. That was his debate strategy.
Should we write it for you?
You have a holster, bro. You have a holster. As he takes advantage of mentally ill women for a show that just is dwindling. All right, okay. All right, Sam, you got it. You got it. I hope you have a wonderful highlight reel. Hope you enjoy Politicon.
Hold on. Let me just make
Hope you enjoy Politicon. Ethan, we'll release the private messages.
You take it easy.
All right, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. It's adorable. Hey, Sam, one thing before I go. Can you take off your glasses? One thing before I go. Can you take off your glasses?
We just want to see if
I just want to see if you take them off, if you have the Velveteen Rabbit buttons. That's the only thing I'm curious about. It's the only interesting part about you.
Or if there's a soul.
Just take off the glasses.
Let's debate.
Don't hide behind the glasses, Sam.
Don't say let's debate, Ethan. You've lost that opportunity.
Ethan's lost the debate. All right, this is sad. This is why we don't
Ethan, shut up.
All right, good. You guys are good. Thank you. Appreciate it. Won't even take off the glasses. All right, yeah, you can give it the X. This is just...
Laughter of cope right there. Coping with the fact that you were embarrassed and sabotaged on your show. He really thought it was sweet to challenge H3, the guy who knows nothing about politics, especially at this time. He doesn't know anything about this sphere. And you challenge him to a debate. So he brings on someone who's actually somebody in the YouTube commentators' political sphere. And you don't want to debate him because he's a nobody, because he has less followers than you, but he's actually in the same sphere as you. So you bring up the fact that the whole Politicon thing, where Politicon set up a debate between Steven Crowder and Sam Seder, in which Steven Crowder ran from. He says that was actually a lie. Politicon lied, and he never wanted to do a debate with them. Okay, well, even if that is the case, you could still debate Sam Seder the way you debate all these other college students and all these other crazy guys off the street. That's not an excuse. The guy was right there on the show. Wouldn't have been a good look to just debate the guy and destroy him like you destroy everybody else and just get him up out of here? You could have destroyed him and walked away, but no, you revert to the schoolyard insults, the schoolyard jokes. Let's see your eyes. I mean, I told you this guy was gay. Instead of debating the guy and talking about the issues and crying about how H3 isn't a stand-up guy. No shit. Come on now. And coping with the laughter.
So he sneaks in another guy because he doesn't feel
You have
that
a holster, bro.
Another guy? Why are you saying another guy? We're talking about Sam Seder, the guy that you're vehemently afraid of. The guy that you know everything about. He took a show off early. He's a failed comedian, just like you, Steven Crowder, but to a lesser extent. You know a lot about him, and you know that supposedly he never lets anyone speak because of your cowardice. You research so much of him just in case, in preparation that, maybe one day he might sabotage you, and this is how you respond to that situation. You back out of it Cold feet. They were calling him Cold Feet Crowder. Very afraid, and honestly, I would be ashamed of this if I were in this situation. I would have just debated the guy. I mean, why not? You're an expert, right? You're an expert to the same degree that any other political commentator is. Why not debate him?
You have a holster, bro.
That was his argument.
Let me show you.
And then Steven Crowder never mentioned Sam Seder again. The boogeyman of this political debate stuff, this commentating stuff. The boogeyman. Ben Shapiro doesn't want to debate Sam Seder. Dude, imagine that. Sam Seder versus Ben Shapiro. That would be crazy. This is a good look at his cowardice, his true nature. It could have easily been accounted for if he would have went through with the debate, but it never happened. And that is the man who destroyed Steven Crowder. Let me know what y'all think about this.